Welcome. We would be beginning with some of the important questions as well as some of the questions asked in the previous year papers for teaching aptitude today, right? In the last class, we focused on the research aptitude questions. Today, our focus would be teaching aptitude followed by Indian logic tomorrow and higher education day after. So, stay tuned for our live sessions for these 4 days on Examrace. Now, the first question that we would discuss here is use of telecast material. You have to mention the correct answer in the comment box. I'm waiting for you to mention the answer in the comment box, and once we have the answer, we'll discuss why do you think which of the following is the right answer here, right? So the options are a telecast method. So telecast, let me explain you, is an audio visual technique. Anything which is telecasted, like this is a telecast class, I can say. So here we are using audio visuals. Now this class would help in what? As simple as that. So you have 3 of the choices and then last one is all of the above. What do you think would be the correct answer? Please mark that in the comment section. Now when there are various options that come in, so Guru has an option D. I'm still waiting for other options. Irshad, yes, please mention your option. Right. So Guru says the answer is D. Now Guru, there is one very important thing that we need to understand. Telecast methods, by no way, when we are talking about teaching aptitude, our aim is to reduce the burden of the teacher. The idea is not that teacher wants to reduce the burden, but the idea is the teacher wants that students should learn the concept properly. So enhancing concentration and retention is important. So enhancing concentration and learning, right? Now enhancing concentration and learning. But the next one is increasing retention. Now for some students, visual techniques can actually increase your retention power, but for others, it's not required that the retention power is increased, right? So here, the option Guru would not be D because it's not aimed at reducing the burden by any means. It's just mean to assist. And when it is means to assist, the idea is bringing in better concentration and learning. So A only would be the right answer. So let's say I mark here A only and I click check my answer. So right, we get the right answer here as A. So that is what we need to understand. Now once you have done it, you want to revisit it later, you can flag this question. There are some list of flag questions which are already there. I can just cancel it out. If I want to hide my previous response, I have removed my previous response and I can refresh this page, and then communication in classroom. So this question deals with study pattern, right? So here there are 4 things which are given. You have to identify which of the following is the correct among those. So emphasis on communication in classroom is, the choices are, I'm waiting for the correct answer in the comment section. So the choices are a futile activity, a method to lighten the atmosphere in the classroom, a method to make lectures more interesting, and a method to encourage students' participation and learning. What do you think would be the right answer for this question? Now, the right answer for this question, we have to understand, when we are talking about classroom learning, it is very different from offline learning. So here, definitely participation of the students and in communication actually encourages participation and learning is the right option, as Nasiba has mentioned. Good going. So right, it's not a futile activity, because when teacher is asking students to communicate, it's not futile. There would be a productive result, that is students are interacting, they are attentive, they are wholeheartedly present in the communication setup, right? So by no ways it is to lighten the atmosphere. The atmosphere could rather get difficult, because a student can bring in difficult propositions while talking about the issue which is being discussed. And also making lecture interesting is not an apt answer. The reason being, It's not about making lecture interesting, but it is making lecture more understandable. So wherever you are finding problems, issues, you can raise your queries, concerns and make it more understandable. So all those who have mentioned the correct answers today can send in email to admin@examrace.com and get a special discount on the subscriptions available, right? So you can just send in your request there. I have a next question out here. This question is an assertion reason question. Now, the assertion is all teaching implies learning, and this is a question which was there in 2017 examination. So just make sure that you are taking due care to solve it. The next is learning to be useful must be derived from teaching. Now, what do you think is the correct answer? Do you think both the assertion reasons are correct or one of them is false? Nasiba has an answer. I'm still waiting for others to answer this question. So Nasiba, if it was all learning implies teaching, it would have been a different statement. I want you to revisit this statement. The statement says all teaching implies learning. That means whenever I am teaching, there is an inbuilt learning. This learning is with me, this learning is with you. Because when you are teaching, there is automatic learning that happens. So assertion is definitely correct. Now, I put it in a statement of John Dewey. John Dewey said, selling starts when buying begins. Now, similarly, teaching starts when learning begins. Okay, so assertion is true. Now, learning to be useful must be derived from teaching. Learning to be useful definitely would be derived from teaching in some form. It could be a teacher teaching in your classroom or the books that you are referring, that is again a teaching, but that teaching is a different kind of teaching. It's not just a classroom one-on-one communication that we are focusing on when we are talking about teaching. So books are also your teachers. Similarly, if the concept is being explained, then again, learning to be useful must be derived from teaching, definitely. So if I'm teaching something out here and you are not able to learn, then that learning, is it useful? That learning is not useful. So when learning has to be useful, that is derived from teaching. I take a very simple example. You go to an outdoor, I introduce to you 5 different trees and I say, this tree has these medicinal property, this tree is an aromatic tree, this tree is a medicinal tree. Now, when you go with one of your friends, you would actually impart that learning, which now becomes teaching for you. So I'm just trying to put it in a more simpler fashion. So definitely reason again is correct. So Guru has a right option here. That means both assertion and reason are correct, and this reason is perfectly derived from the assertion which is given. I hope that's clear. Let's move to the next question. The next question here is another question. Now this question is from 2018 paper. The construction of thought, which includes remembering, solving a problem, decision making, is known as what? Now note, mostly in your paper 1, for teaching aptitude, you would not run short of time. So here is the question timer that is going. And this question timer says that just now only 20 seconds have passed. Now this is a theoretical question. You on an average get 1 minute per question. So you would have ample of time that would be left in your teaching aptitude section, which could be utilized for data interpretation or other things. Nasiba has a perfectly correct answer. Great going. So the construction of thought process, which includes remembering, problem solving, decision making, is known as cognitive development. So pedagogy is the study style, andragogy is the mechanism of study, the psychology is where you have the study of behavior. So if you go on to the explanations here, you would see the various explanations on each of these concepts, right? So pedagogy, as I said, where we focus on the concept of understanding the curriculum, explaining the curriculum. Andragogy is again understanding the curriculum, but with special regards to adults. So focusing on adult education. Psychology, where we talk about study of behavior. Cognitive is where we understand. So whenever there is a thought process, we would try to understand it, and we would try to take this into account. Okay, so that is where we focus on the construction of thought process, which includes remembering, problem solving, decision making, and that is the cognitive development, right? Let's move to the next question out here. So moving to the next question. Shodh Ganga is maintained by. Now you might wonder how it is a question from teaching aptitude. This should be from higher education, but this is a question from teaching aptitude because it is based on teaching, ICT based teaching, right? So Shodh Ganga is maintained by InflipNet. The headquarters for InflipNet are located in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, and Suraj has a correct answer. Great, Suraj. So Shodh Ganga is the compodium for the research works, and this compodium is maintained and taken care by InflipNet, right? Let me move to the next question here. So the next question, here are certain lists which are given below, which are the instructional events which form the part of the structure of a lesson plan. Which of the following do you think are important instructional events? So we have 6 instructional events that are given. In the choices, I can see 4 of the instructional events which are correct. 2 of those are incorrect. So what do you think would be the correct options here? Just try to mark those. So I am waiting for your correct response in the comment section. Gaining attention of the students, prior knowledge of the students. Now when I am giving instructional events, list of instructional events, I definitely want that the student should be attentive to what I am saying. So gaining attention of the students is definitely one of the important ideas. When I am already instructing them, I don't believe that they should have a prior knowledge about it. So 2 is not the right option. Informing the learner of the objectives. Informing the learners of the objective is definitely correct, because when I am giving the instruction, let's say you are there for a sports competition. So hello everyone, I'll give you certain instructions that you have to follow before this sports competition. So what I am doing is I am gaining attention of the students, correct? Now I am also, it does not require prior knowledge of the students. Whether the student is here for the first time or has been before does not matter. But I am informing the learners that yes, these are the rules that you would follow for the competition. So there is information to the learners, and that's one of the objectives. So 3 is correct, 1 is correct. Stimulating recall of prerequisite learning. So now here you would say, as I have mentioned the rules of the competition, you know that this should not be done while you are on the field, right? When you are actually in the real fight or in the real competition. If it's a boxing competition or something like that. So you would stimulate the recall for prerequisite learning. Yes, while I was being trained, I learned that I should not cross the border of the boxing room. So that is stimulating the recall of the prior learning, which is important. Checking the availability of reading material in the library is something weird, does not make sense. Okay, yes, Suraj has the right answer here. And eliciting a desired response. So yes, I am your coach, I am giving you instruction, this is how you have to perform. So my idea is a desired response that you perform well should be achieved. So definitely eliciting a desired response should be the option. So 1, 3, 4 and 6 would be the correct answer. So I would have 1, 3, 4 and 6, that is C. So let me just mark this and check my answer. So right, so this is the correct answer, as you can see. Okay, so I hope this question was again clear. Let me move to the next question. Okay, So there are more than 700 questions on teaching aptitude. So a lot for you to practice. We'll be discussing just 10 questions here. Right. Yes, Guru. So Guru has a right option here. The next is in educational institutions, students usually have group journals or magazines and they prefer to write on them on a regular basis. That means, let's say you are part of a university or a college, there would be an annual magazine being released by your university or college and you write in that. Students love to write that yes, I would be an alumni of this college, I have contributed to this journal, to my college magazine, right? So in this, following statements are correct about journaling as a method of informal assessment. Now the thing is, there are 4 statements, 2 of which are correct as you can see in the choices. The statement is as a tool that provides opportunity to express their thoughts and ideas, as an opportunity to showcase what they have learned, as a way to cope the stress, as a tool to settle scores with authority. So what do you think would be the right options here? Now definitely when you are writing in the magazine, Nasiba, Arijit have the right answer here, great going. So this would be a tool because student would be able to express their thoughts and ideas. Everyone cannot get a chance to actually write themselves in national or international newspapers. So they start with the school level, college level, and once they succeed they proceed further. So it's just a way, a platform to express your thoughts and ideas and showcase what you have learned. Now this would help you grow later in your life. It's no way to settle your stress or to settle your scores with the authority. It does not matter. It's just a part of extra co-curricular activities which are defined. Okay. So the next question is again a assertion reason question. Now here the assertion reason question says it is the responsibility of the teacher to make students active listeners with the help of different interactive techniques. Now let's say a couple of students are here. Now it's my responsibility to make sure you are actually engaged in the learning. If I sleep in the lecture or if I just go out of the classroom, I'm not ensuring whether you are participating or not. I'm not ensuring if you are not commenting that you are participating or not. So I definitely know there are a lot of you who have joined here, but only few of you are commenting. That means those are the interactive techniques that we can have on this platform, right? So it's my responsibility to make sure that you are interacting. So a lot of you have mentioned the answer which is very close, but the reason here says in teacher-centric communication, so definitely assertion is right. Okay, you understand it very well. Now, the next one here is the fact that teacher-centric communication, student tends to become passive learners. Definitely, if I keep on speaking, I don't know whether you are interacting or not, whether you are writing your answers or not, whether you are solving the questions or not. That means you are a passive learner. You would simply learn whether what I am saying, and you won't either question it, you won't comment on it, it won't be a two-way communication, right? So teacher-centric communication would be mainly aimed to develop students becoming passive learners. So reason is again correct, but this reason is a correct explanation to explain that if there is a teacher-centric communication, the students become passive learner. So therefore, it's a responsibility of a teacher to make sure that the students are actively involved through interactive techniques. So both assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion here. I hope you are able to understand the basic behind this question. Now let's move on to the next question. The next question is, a model of teaching is a description of. Now, a lot of you were confused with assertion reason problem. Now, it's very important, specifically in assertion reason, where you identify that both the statements are correct. But are you able to connect whether this is a correct explanation for the question or not is again important, right? So that must be very clear in your mind. So, make sure whether you are able to connect assertion and reason with words like because, and that would help you actually work on this problem in a much smooth way. The model of teaching is a description of What are the correct option? Teacher behavior including teacher and student, learning environment including teaching behavior, learner behavior including personality, subject matter in a logical structure. What do you think is the correct option? So right, Guru has the right answer here. Now here, it's not just when I'm talking about model of teaching, it's not just teaching or it's not just learning, but it is an amalgamation of teaching and learning, right? So B here would be the right option as mentioned. So the idea is we are not focusing on what is the subject matter. Subject matter definitely is important, knowledge is the key, but the model of teaching, we are not talking about the content of teaching, the model, how it should be taught. It should be taught in a way that it is familiar to the students. You are able to understand it well. So learning environment as well as teaching behavior, both of them are important to understand in this question, right? So B would be the right answer. Okay, so let me check the answer, and here it says right B as the correct option. I hope that's clear. Now the last question for today's session I'll focus on, and this question talks about arrange the phase of syntax of group investigation model. Now this group investigation model was initially given by Herbert Thielen and later explained by John Dewey. There are 6 stages under which we talk about group investigation. So what do we start with when we are investigating a group? When we are investigating a group, we first make sure that students encounter a situation which is actually puzzling. Now once a student is in a puzzling situation, student would explore reactions. How would you react? How would others react? How would I react in this situation which is so puzzling, so complicated, right? So C would be the first thing that you would start with, followed by E, that is exploring the reactions. Now since C and E would be the first beginners, only A option can be correct, but we won't stop it here. We'll understand how it proceeds. So A would be students formulate the study task and organize it. So once there is a puzzling situation, students understand or react to it, they formulate the study task, they form the independent and the group study modules, and finally students analyze the progress and the process of the study. So A becomes the correct option, which has C, E, A, D and B as the option. I hope this becomes clear. Tomorrow's lecture is extremely important. We would be covering Indian logic, questions related to Indian logic. So make sure you are there tomorrow at 5 p.m. Indian logic is a section where a lot of students from non-philosophy, non-psychology background are a little afraid of it. But it's really interesting in scoring. So you can really score well in that logic section. And those who have answered correctly today can send in a request to admin@examrace.com to get a special discount code for the subscriptions. Wish you very good luck. Have a wonderful day ahead. Practice well and looking forward to hear from you after your exams.